Hey guys, it's Jackie from Jack Gets Lost Down a Book Hole, and it is Top 5 Wednesday time. Top 5 Wednesday is a Goodreads group created by Ginger Reads Laney, and is actually now hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. And if you guys are interested in Goodreads, and just want to do it, whether you want to join the group or just do it for fun, I will be posting the link to the Goodreads group for topic ideas. So, anyway, again, this is another Halloween-esque topic, a creepy topic, and it is creepy settings. I kind of had a hard time with this one, but I really wanted to do this one. Some of the books, unfortunately, I no longer have. One of them I gave to my cousin that I mentioned because I wanted her to read it because I know she liked Pride and Prejudice, and it's kind of a similar, historical romance, like a classic historical romance. And then one of the other ones is also, historical fiction, but it's more modern. It's by one of my favorite historical fiction authors, Kate Morton-Wood. By the way, if you love historical fiction and with a little bit of mystery, she writes a lot of really great standalone books. I love her writing style. It's flowery, but not too flowery. I wouldn't say they're for everybody, but it's kind of like, I guess you could say it's kind of like Maggie Stiefvater's writing, where it's like easy to follow and understand, but it's still, it's not like Lord of the Rings type writing. Of course, it's written in modern times, so she has modern readers in mind. But she is definitely one of my favorite authors, and I keep checking her website to see if she has another book coming out, which I will definitely jump on and buy as soon as it comes out. But I might have to wait because it'll probably come out in hardback first. Actually, although the last book she wrote, The Lake House, I didn't see it in hardback. I don't remember when I bought it, and it had just come out. And I think it had been out for a while, so maybe her books don't come out in hardback. But anyway, so like I said, I don't have those books with me. Let's see, the others. Okay, yeah, so those are the only two I don't have with me. Okay, so I will tell those first. Actually, they might, one of them's first, and then the other one is the third one on my typed up list, which, as always, these are not in any particular order. They just are in the order that they popped up into my head, which is usually how I do my top 5 Wednesdays, because I don't really think about the order. Maybe there will be a brief flicker of an idea of me determining which one is my number 1 favorite, but most of the time it's just how they pop into my head. Okay, so I keep looking over because I called up the document when I usually type it up into a Microsoft document so I can publish it on my blog too. So I'm looking at that right now, if you see my eyes shifting. Okay, so the first one I mentioned is, oh wait, no, never mind. This I do have, actually. This first one I do have in my possession. And that is, I want to talk about not a specific book, but Stephen King. All his books, of course, they're horror, so they have to be creepy. And so I couldn't describe a creepy setting without mentioning Stephen King. All his books are set in Maine, and it makes Maine a really creepy place to want to live. I really hope, I have a friend that lives in Maine, so I really hope if she ever watched this, she wouldn't be offended, because it's just that the way Stephen King writes, he makes them really creepy. He writes a lot of his stories take place in a small town, like Storm of the Century, the town is very isolated, and they are on an island basically, so they're surrounded by water, and no one in the bigger part of Maine is entirely aware of them unless they come across the bay into the city, or the rest of the state. So he's really good at writing about isolation and writing. Well, although his miniseries made for TV movie Rose Red, that wasn't a book, but someone did write The Diary of Ellen Rimbauer by Ridley Pearson to go along with the miniseries. But that one's not in Maine. But then again, it's not one of his books, it's one of his screenplays that he wrote, so I guess that's okay. Not that it was bad in the first place, because it's still true Stephen King at his best. But he writes all his stories takes place, most of his stories take place in Maine, if not all, and he makes Maine a really creepy place, you know. And like I said, really draws on the isolation factor in a lot of his stories. And I actually have here one of his books, my favorite so far anyway. I've only read a handful of his stuff. But, and that is It, which takes place in his fictional town of Derry, I think it's fictional, Derry, Maine. And it's not as small of a town, it's kind of like a big, it's like, I'm trying to think, the only example I can think of that I can compare it to is, it's kind of like Arlington, Virginia. So it's not that small, but it's not like Washington, D.C. or New York City. But this whole town in this book is haunted by this evil entity of fear that scares you, especially children. It likes to feed on the children's fear. It takes the form of a clown, so it's so creepy. And this town is too afraid to do anything, so even when bad things happen, whether it has to do with the clown or the / evil entity, or the people in the town, like kids get bullied by the town bullies, like Henry Bowers and his gang, the adults are too scared to do anything about it. And they're really weird and creepy. I mean, they even put more emphasis on the weird, creepy factor in this remake movie, because, I mean, yes, the miniseries had the creepy factor, but it wasn't as creepy because it was made for TV movie, and it was also on ABC, which is owned by Disney, and it was made in 1999, so in this movie, the newest movie was rated R, but this is one of his creepier settings. It's just, Stephen King he's the king of not just of horror, but being creepy and being weird, and sometimes even a little pervy, but he's also a guy, so a lot of times guys are prone to be more pervy than girls, and females, but maybe that's just a stereotype or assumption, but just... Okay, so, alright, so it's the second one that I no longer have in my possession, and that is Jane Eyre, the house in, excuse me, my dog is asking to leave the room. Go on. Okay, and that is Jane Eyre's Thornfield Hall. That place is creepy. And it is so big, and, when Jane gets there, Rochester hardly comes home. It's just so big, in the middle of nowhere, on the moors, and it's just... I don't know if I would feel comfortable living there. I mean, if Rochester was there on a regular basis, then, yeah, I'd be cool. I would be okay with it. And yes, there are servants, but it's still a creepy house. Those gothic houses and castles of back then, which actually the next one, number 3, this is 2 right now. The third creepy sign I'm mentioning is kind of is also the same style house. It's a castle, but it's, I would not feel comfortable living. It's too big, and it's just creepy. And on top of that, there's a creepy, psychotic ex-wife of Rochester's in the attic that he keeps locked up in there. And you can hear her, and she's all wild, and she's crazy and wild right now. And, it's just, that to me is creepy. That setting is creepy. And, sorry, once again, my dog's asking to come back in the room. No. I'm sitting here first. If you want to crawl behind me, then you can, but yeah, Thornfield Hall is the next creepy setting number 2. Okay, so, and that is the book I gave to my cousin, because I wanted her to read it. I figured she might like it. She still has not given it back to me, and I haven't pushed it. I would like to have it back, but I mean, I could always buy another copy, especially now that I'm making a lot of money. Okay, as I'm sure you can see, Rascals decided to end up crawling in behind me. He's so sweet, but he's not a pain in the butt. So, like I said, unfortunately, I don't have Jane Eyre to show you guys to make this video a little more interesting, but Jane Eyre is number 2. Okay, so the third setting I think is really creepy. Again, is a Gothic style living space, and that is Midler, or Milder or Midler Castle in, Kate Morton's The Distant Hours, which it's kind of like, in the story itself, it's kind of like in the Gothic romance vein. So it's like a Gothic castle type, and in the present, these 3 sisters have lived there their whole lives because they are basically trapped in the house and they can't leave. They can't have their normal lives, you know. So it's probably more creepy in like now in the present, and it's very dilapidated, and you know, there's creepy old ladies, and the youngest sister is a little off her rocker, I think, if I remember correctly, or at least she doesn't say anything. It's been so long. I would love to rebuy those books, but I'm slowly rebuying some of my favorites, but that also means I have to get rid of some of these. Yes, I know, blasphemous, but my mom's not going to buy me another shelf. And until I'm like if I'm ever living on my own, I'll have to stick with going in that method for now. Does kind of depend on my parents. I mean, although if I make enough money and save up enough, I could always buy my own shelf. But I don't know where I would put it. I mean, maybe over there or over here or something. Like, but if I did it over here, if you could see my room, it would have to be a small shelf. You know, maybe I could do one of those shelves with the little box-shaped shelves. But my mom would probably be like, "You're buying that on your own." So, but, and anyway, I mean, the books I'm getting rid of, it's like books that I enjoyed, but I'm not like totally in love with those books. It's books that I'm okay with getting rid of them, you know, and I'm donating them anyway, you know. So, okay, but yeah, Miller, it's, again, Gothic style, so it's kind of for the same reasons that Thornfield Hall, why I think Thornfield Hall is a little creepy. So, but it's not creepy the whole time. I mean, all these, because, like I said, I had a hard time with this, so all these settings aren't creepy for long. Okay, now, so yeah, okay, so, next, I just read this book, actually, and that is The Vanishing Game by, Kate K. Myers. And basically, the plot of this is this girl, Jocelyn, she and her twin brother were orphans raised in a foster home, and, you know, years later, her twin brother Jack has died, but she's received a message that he possibly may be alive, so she contacts, an old mutual friend of theirs, a guy that she used to have a crush on, Noah, who was, like, really close with her brother Jack, and they basically are following all these clues, to figure out where if Jack is still alive or not. And Jack and Noah are big on puzzles, and they're good with computers and stuff like that. So, and I read this now because it's kind of a mystery thriller, and there's a little bit of scariness to it, but it's more scary as in jump scares, or as in some guy is gonna kill them, you know, some guy who wants this thing that her brother got mixed up in. So it's not like scary as in monsters or anything like that, or, you know, even the guy who's chasing them is not crazy as in a psycho crazy. He's just obsessed with whatever Jack has or might have had. Okay, so anyway, I say this is creepy because, like, the setting of this, it's not the whole setting, but the whole setting takes place, I want to say, like, in Canada and Jersey. I don't know why I want to say Jersey. But is the foster home where they grew up in called Seal House. To me, that's the creepy setting because, like, you don't know what's up at the house and weird stuff is happening, and some of the kids there some of the kids that grew up there were not just quiet, but they could be a little deadly. Like, one of the girls, like, Jocelyn, the main girl's roommate, was good with knives. There was one boy there that was a biter. These kids got a little vicious in this foster home, and the owner was not that great of an owner, not a great foster mom because she was doing heroin. So, but you probably want to, that's a different kind of scary. I wouldn't say it was creepy. But what's creepy is, like I said, you don't know what's up at the house because it seems like there is ghosts in the house. And there's this little mystery going on. And, it's creepy because Jocelyn does not know what's going on. A lot of weird stuff happens. Like, she's hiding, she's creeped out by the cellar, and the foster mom would throw the bad kids in the cellar. And that's really creepy. And cellars are just creepy. Because, they're like basements, and if they're not done up nice like a basement, they're made like with a bunch of boxes and stuff, and junk in there, and maybe the furnace and all that kind of stuff, so that, it's gonna be, the cellar's creepy. And while she's hiding down there, she feels like she might have been bit while she was hiding down there when she's trying to see if her brother left any clues in that cellar. And it's the seal house just, you don't know, it's weird, you don't know what's going on. The place feels kind of haunted, and so it's kind of lame for creepy factor, but it's still, to me, it's a little bit of creepy. So it kind of is a good spot for it. Number 4. Okay, so I'm conflicted because just now I was trying to think of one more place, but now I'm also thinking about another place that is another house type setting. So, and again, since I've already mentioned a couple houses here, I think maybe I'll just stick with the answer that I have, which is not a house, and it is The Bones City in City of Bones, the first book in Cassandra Clare's The Mortal Instrument series, which actually isn't the central setting, but I guess City of Bones sounded mysterious and interesting, and we get readers' attentions, and there is an important moment that does. Oh, I didn't realize, but this quote on here that like recommends this book is from Holly Black, and Cassandra Clare and Holly Black worked together, collaborating on a book not that long ago, like a few years ago. It's funny, and she left a blurb of how it was. She said, "Funny, dark, and sexy, one of my favorite books," and then they collaborated together. It's kind of interesting. Probably maybe a dream come true moment. And it's a New York bestseller. Anyway, sorry about that. So I say City of Bone, this Bone City, that is creepy because, first of all, it's in a graveyard. The Bone City is located in a graveyard, in a mausoleum. It is basically run by the Silent Brothers, and all the bones of all the Shadow Hunters are kept in there. So there literally are bones of dead people in the city, buried in the city. And the Silent Brothers who run it, they sew their mouths and their eyes shut, which I wonder if that's painful. And if you read the series, it's even more, heartbreaking when you think about it. If you have read the Infernal Devices, because well, I'm not gonna say anymore, but if you've read the Infernal Device, you'll get why I say that. How it's kind of sad that they do that. But that place is creepy, and I don't know if I would feel comfortable going there. Of course, if I absolutely have to, then I guess I have I have to. But I don't want. I mean, poor Clary though, she has to basically go to the Bone City to get her memories back and to find out her connection to the Shadowhunter world. And it's, that place is just, I would not want to go there, especially with what they had to do to get her memories back. They had to use the mortal sword on her. And like in the show, I don't remember how they described what they had to do in the book, but in the show, you know, they press on her forehead, poke her, you know, in the forehead to get her memories to come back, so she can have visions of her they can unravel her memories and stuff. I mean, it's like a truth sword, like the Sword of Truth from that series, which I DNF'd. But yeah, this one is creepy. That the Bone City to me is very creepy, and very of course there's also the Hotel de Mort is getting creepy too. That comes in. I don't know if it comes in this book or in the second book, because I want to say that it comes in the second book. So anyway, but if you're interested in the other series, the other book I was gonna mention with the creepy setting is I was gonna mention that another setting that you in the present it's more creepy, but in the past it's not so creepy, is the house, Miss Peregrine's home for peculiar children. Their house where the peculiar children live. That can be kind of creepy in the beginning, you know. All those like old houses, you know, old dilapidated houses are creepy in itself. You know, there's cobwebs and dust and creaky floorboards, especially with the way houses were made back then. But yeah, I was gonna also say that was creepy. Of course, there are aspects of that trilogy that are creepy, like. In the last book, Library Souls, that place that they go to, I can't remember what it's called, that, when they're trying to look for the other children that are kidnapped by the whites. I think that's how you say it. That's weird, that creepy 1930s style, they go into the loop, another loop, and it's kind of like old, like 1930s Depression era kind of, that's kind of creepy. Of course, the bad guys are really creepy too. I mean, it makes it even more creepy now that I have a visual, with the movie. I mean, I feel bad because as much as I love to read, sometimes I like having, even if the movies aren't great versions of the books, I kind of like having a visual from the movies. I mean, maybe my imagination is not as good as I thought, but yeah, that was the other one I was gonna say, some of the settings in Miss Peregrine's home for peculiar children. No, you could also say the night circus. Well, no. Okay, I'm gonna just shut up now. So that's my top 5 creepy settings. I hope you guys liked it, and like I said, if you are interested in doing this topic, or you know, whether you want to be part of the actual group or you just want to do this for fun, I will post the Goodreads link. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye!